Hi everyone. I am sitting down at my table in my basement that holds all my painting materials, and I have actually been working mostly in gouache. It really is fun because it's water based and it's not oil based. I don't have to use turpentine. It doesn't affect my skin. I can use it in this basement where there's pretty much no ventilation. And yeah, so I really do like working with gouache. It's easy to clean up. You can just simply rinse it off your hands or your palette or your paintbrush with soap and water, which is great. And I know that we don't really need gouache right now. We're just using more drawing materials just to begin with in this class. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about ways you can start preparing to set up to use gouache in the second half of this class. So I have a few different types of palettes that I like to use. I paint quite a bit, so it's nice for me to have just a few palettes lying around. This is a plexiglass board that was given to me by a geologist who I guess they use these in the field. You can also maybe find these just kind of around any sort of like building yard or anything like that, but plexiglass or glass is actually one of the best palettes because you can put a white paper behind too and have the colors really pop out, so you can really focus on what kind of colors you're mixing. And if you do, this is plexiglass so the edges aren't sharp, but if you do end up using a glass palette, please get some duct tape and go ahead and cover any of the sides and be really careful if you do use glass, because it would be kind of just dangerous, I guess, if you broke it. I also found this type of particle board I got it at a garage sale. So if you're interested in pursuing painting a little bit more, garage sailing and just kind of keeping your eyes out for resources so you don't have to pay for them is my highest recommendation. So this particle board is really cool. And also I love using, I save these plastic lids from going out to eat. Picking up food and takeout, it always has some sort of plastic, and these can be really great for using as palettes. And gouache, once it dries, it can't be used to the same thickness as it was when you first squeezed it out the tube, but it is nice to have these colors left over in case I want to touch up a painting. I have a bunch of these around and I label them by each painting that I do, so I can just go back to those colors and add them and fix my paintings. You will need a brush for this class, and it has to be a 1/2 inch, and I recommend this flat head because we're going to be doing a lot of little color swatches. And I believe I showed you a picture of this. These are a good pencil pack to start because it has all these different ranges, grades of lead that go from really dark to really light. You probably want to get some of these types of Mars plastic erasers. Having a nice big eraser around, you're going to be doing a lot of erasing because I do want you to try to focus on having clean designs. And I have just a little example of some Winsor Newton gouache, which you can't even really see from a camera angle. And then I also recommend just carrying around a sketchbook too. Sketchbooks are a really great place to get your thumbnails out, designs out. Designs can be very, very intricate and very well thought out, but it's always nice to start with them and doing little thumbnail drawings, tiny drawings in your sketchbook. Lastly, talking about gouache once again, you're going to need some sort of painting well for your work. One other thing, actually. Instead of a palette that you can do, you can use an ice cube tray. That way you can squeeze out the different colors of gouache into the ice cube tray, so that's an option. But when you're working with gouache, you're going to need a fairly large tub of water. So I have this dirty tub of water that I've been using, and this is just some Tupperware. So any sort of recyclable restaurant containers, Tupperware containers, leftover ice cream containers, any sort of container that you have that is a little bit on the bigger edge to hold dirty water is good. And lastly, just always make sure when you're done working with any sort of water or brush, which I do recommend getting a watercolor brush for this class. When you're done using your watercolor brushes, your gouache brushes, you can simply just dispense some soap into your hand and then take the brush and clean it out with the soap and water, and make sure you get all the gouache out so that you don't end up destroying your expensive paintbrush. And I hope that was helpful. And also it's nice to have actually some paper towels around too. But yeah, I hope that was helpful for you just getting a good start with how to set up everything. Thanks.